All right, welcome back, guys. Um, so where were we in the logo fundamentals? I hope you guys had a very a very good break. Yeah, it was so short a time for me too, but at least I had some liquids in. Okay, so let's get back to it. Now that we have this setup, um, what I'm going to request from you guys is if you have questions, right? And even if you might be watching this later on, if you have questions, you can leave them in the comment section. If you're not live with us, you can leave them in the comment section, and I'll make sure that I respond to each and every message or each and every comment that I receive. That is a question regarding the logo fundamental class, right? So now we don't only have our logo created, we also have our color palette listed out below. So the first thing that we're going to do at the resumption of this class is take a few questions, and after taking a few questions, we then go further into the class. So what's the first question that you guys have? I'm ready to answer it. For you guys that are live, I'm ready to answer what questions you guys have. Let me know, and we'll treat it right here in the class so you can get the clarity that you need. Okay, seems we don't have any questions. In the course of the class, you can also ask questions, and I'll do my best to answer them. All right, your personal side is saying no questions, sir. It means you guys are understanding, you know, and you guys are following along pretty well. It must probably mean I'm a good teacher, or a very bad teacher that leaves the students lost. Okay, now that we have the logo done, let's create a different kind of logo. Now, this is not going to be client work, it's just going to be fictional. So, this is how we are going to do it. We're going to have one person just randomly type in a name in the chat box. If you're live, randomly type in a name in the chat box, and somebody else, after typing the name of the brand you want, somebody else is going to say the industry that we want that particular brand to be in. So let's see. Somebody should just give us a name in the chat box. Somebody should give us a name. Welcome, Tammy. Somebody should give us a name. Okay, Easy Salons. Okay, that's the first one I see. Okay, Easy Salons. And then somebody should now give us a niche. Somebody else should give us a niche for Easy Salons. What niche should we use to interpret the logo for Easy Salons? Ethereal investment is law is late, guys. Is late. That's late. We've already gone with Easy Salons. Let me type that out so that you guys see what we're working with. We're working with Easy Salon. Right. So let's work with that. Let's work with that. Okay, so okay, I see beauty brand, I see hair and makeup. Okay, let's go with hair and makeup. I think that's the first one that came up. Hair and makeup, hair and makeup. Okay, still in the fashion industry, so let's go with that. Still in the fashion industry, right? So let's roll with Easy Salon. Right, give me, guys, give me 1 minute. Okay, so let's create a new file. New, and then what we're going to do is, what size are we going to use? We've talked about sizes. We've talked about sizes. Let's still go with the same thing we used before, but just for the sake of you guys understanding how it works, let's create 30 by 20. And now, if you guys notice here, we see orientation. Now, orientation is if you want it to be portrait or landscape. So this is portrait and then this is landscape, but we're going for landscape, right? And then, you know, we click create, and voila, this is done. So cool. We have this guy. This is done. Okay. So the name is Easy Salon. Easy Saloon. Easy Salon. Well, I think you guys can let me know in the chat box which one is the right pronunciation. Uh, okay, so this thing has something to do with hair and fashion. how do we attack this? We're done with creating, you know, a stylized logo mark or a logo icon, right? So how do we represent this like a word mark? Now, first thing that comes to mind for anybody that wants to create a logo is, oh, how do I do I and S, right? But when creating a logo, you want it to be something that stands out, or you want it to be something that is memorable, something that when it's seen, it's easily remembered, right? So how can we be able to achieve that? You say, well, I have a theory, right? I have a theory that we can use the letter I to represent easy. I have a theory that we can use this to represent her brand. But it's just not going to be played this way. Don't get me wrong. We are still going to work on this. We're still going to get information. We're still going to get direction, right? So if we want to represent this as a unisex, now what does unisex mean? Universal sex, right? If I'm not mistaken. Okay, so universal, and then in the sense of universal, it can be represented as one because we have one universe, right? And so that we don't jumble the whole equation or we don't jumble the whole thing, let's represent our universe as one, right? We don't want it to be too complicated. Now, this can also represent our universe because, I mean, when it comes to anything being on Earth, is represented as round or spherical. So let's say we can still go with this guy. So it's still a total representation of I, right? But we need to go further to make this guy memorable. Okay, so what do we do next? We look for inspiration. Or do we? Let's get brand directives from you guys. Um, so if you feel we should look for inspiration based off this, let me know. If you say you guys are going to come up with the inspiration, then let's do this together as a team. So in this second segment, it's going to be you guys and I coming up with the ideal brand directives for this logo. So which one do we go for? Do we look for inspiration? Do I look for inspiration based off what I have at the top of my head? Or do you guys come up with an inspiration? Or do you guys give me what you feel would be an inspiration based off what I've explained earlier? We want it to be memorable. Okay, I see unisex here stands for both male and female. Okay, so it has to be neutral, such that it's not portraying female, it's not portraying male. Okay, so it has to be neutral. Neutral. Let's not forget being memorable. So a memorable and a neutral logo. Okay. Someone else apart from your personal stylist, apart from that, let someone else give us something. So we have memorable, neutral. Someone else should give us something. I'm still waiting on you guys. Are you guys thinking? Okay, I see. Fantastic. Okay. Okay, that's fairly new. Okay. So we have it should be memorable. It should be neutral, and it should be fantastic. You see, he doesn't know what to say. All right. I see. It's okay. It's all good. Um, well, memorable, neutral, fantastic. Can I get one more person? One more person to give me something. One more person to give me something. One more person to give me something. You guys realize that, okay, I think that's basically like the same thing. Um, or, well, yeah, not too feminine. Okay. Yeah, we're still speaking to neutral. So, memorable, neutral, and fantastic. Okay. You guys realize, like I was trying to say earlier, that we can actually create a logo that doesn't have any, what's the word, any representation of hair or fashion in it, and it will still be memorable, and it can still be tied to whatever it is you're doing. You guys realize that we can actually do that, right? I'm going to show you an example. So let me just quickly pull this off the internet and show you guys. All right, so this is an image that I got off Pinterest, and it's basically, right, it's basically a hair brand, but it's a fashion brand rather, but not necessarily showing off anything fashiony or fashion in the sense, right? So things can actually be done that way, but that's not where we're heading to, anyways. We're heading to achieving something. So let's be quick about this and see how far we can go with this logo before tomorrow, before tomorrow's final class. Okay, when you talk about hair, what comes to mind? Or when you talk about fashion, what comes to mind? Elegance, luxury, exclusivity or something I like to call distinctiveness, right? So, since we are not trying too hard to portray the fashion or the hair or the, you know, makeup and all the accessories that are being used in the niche. We want to make it look exclusive. We want to make it look memorable, but we still want people to know that this is a hair brand. How do we do that? We have different ways to be able to achieve this. We don't necessarily have to add in hair. We could use font. We could modify the font. We could either amplify the font, or I'm going to show you an example of that. Now, let's keep this guy by the side. Group this and hide. Let's bring Easy Salons. All right. Okay. Let's look for a befitting font to match luxury. Let's look for a luxury font. So let's look together. Oh wow, okay. Okay, I think I like this. Let's do, yeah, this is not bad at all. Now we could make this as simple as this. Let me let me make this very simple. We'll make this as simple as this. Are you guys following? Can make this as simple as this. Now I click on my pen tool. Um, if you guys notice this line here, you can get this ruler line by holding Control and R on the keyboard to get this line, and then you can bring out from it by just clicking on the line, on the ruler line, and you get your horizontal line from the top. And then you also do the same thing from this, and you get your vertical line from the left. Now we have this centered because we have a layer selected. So what do? I hold P on the keyboard and then make sure that my layer is selected, and then add new points here, 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 and here. This is like a guide. All these points you see here, they are like guides so that it can be perfectly centered. And then what do? I hold Control and select all these areas. And then click Control T on the keyboard and reduce or increase, holding just alternate. Now alternate, like I said, it makes sure that it removes and adds from every aspect. So as I'm doing this, it's removing from all sides that were selected. So we have this. We can say with this we are done. We can say with this we are done, right? This can be used as a word mark for a brand, but we want to take it a step further, right? We want to be able to achieve something more memorable for the brand. And we don't want to use initials like I and S. We don't want something like that. We just want it to be something that duly represents the brand. So how do we do that, and how do we make it neutral? Because if we are to use like a lady flaunting her hair, then it makes it more feminine. If we're to use like a guy, then we make it you look more masculine. So what do? We go for something that is a bit more streamlined, but that can cater to saloons. Right. So what I'm going to do here, just like I said from the onset, is focus on the eye. Now, what is one thing that can work for guys and work for girls? One thing that just came to my mind is afro, the hairstyle, not as in Afro gang, but afro in the hairstyle. Now, how can we create an afro? We could do it the conventional way. So let's try to do this the conventional way. We grab our circle tool, and then we're going to be drawing a lot of circles, making sure that all of them stay perfectly, um, how do we call it? They are perfectly rounded. Yeah, I think that's the best, for lack of better words, anyways. So let's create, duplicate, Control J, resize, Control T, increase the size, make it like this. Also, you can hold alternate on the keyboard and just drag your layer to the next place you want it to be, and then automatically it will duplicate. So let's keep duplicating while we are trying to get our afro. Let's keep going. Yeah, I know it's looking more like a cloud, isn't it? But let's keep going. Now, what just popped into my mind is we need a guide. How do we get a guide? Let's get one circle and draw like the head where we want the afro to be around. And then what we can do is we come here and we take out the fill, and then we give it a stroke just to guide us. Let's also make a separate guide for where we have the end of our of our afro. Yeah, I think that's about it. This might take a while, but let's keep going. Now let's get rid of these outlines to see what we've gotten. Well, not looking too good, but not looking bad either. So let's refine. Let's refine. Make sure it's looking more like a hair. Good, 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 good. Now that we have something like this, let's move to the next step. Yes, a bit confusing for most of you guys, but it's a process. And we are going to group all these layers that we've made. How do we do that? We click on the topmost one that we want, scroll down, and then hold shift. Click on this, it selects all of them. If you can see, you have all these layers here. And then we control G, or we click on this group icon. So let's do control G, and then we have all of them grouped. So we now have our hair grouped. Right, we have this grouped. Good. Now for the next part of this is where we combine this guy and this guy to give us something that looks nice. All right, so let's duplicate. Remember, we need just two of them. This guy and this guy. Right. Now, let's get rid of this. We are going to modify the text. We are going to modify this text to further improve the memorability. All right. So let's, okay, let's modify this text now. Now, first things first, you notice that if we click on our pen tool and try to modify this text, it's not possible. We cannot do that. Rather, it's creating a new point for us. So how do we, or how can we be able to modify our text? What you need to do is you need to come to the layer of the text, to where your text layer is, and right click and then convert to shape. Once you right click, you click on convert to shape, and once you convert it to shape, it's still a vector based, just like the text is. It's still a vector based document, so you can, you know, modify this and still have it in high resolution. So we do the same thing for this one. Right click and go convert to shape. So now we have the both of them selected. Now what do we want to do? We want to make it look such that our S and our I are intertwining with themselves. How can we do that? We are going to create an illusion of something like that happening. All right, so let's do that using our ruler tool. So let's bring our ruler and put it, just tally it with the line of the eye. Bring another one and tally it with the line of the eye. Good, so that we can be as accurate as possible. Now with our S selected, as S layer selected, we make sure that we take out these areas that, we take out these areas here. And how do we do that? We take out, or we add new points. I think this one is very close, but we need to add a new point here. Add a new point here, add a new point here, add another one here, add another one here. Exactly on the line. Now all we need to do is hold control and select these other ones that are not on the line, and what we need to click is backspace. We've gotten rid of that. So if we hide the eye by clicking on this eye here, you see that we have this guy out of the equation. All right, so now that we have that, we need to complete our shape so that it doesn't, it doesn't wobble. We need to complete our shape, so we come to any of the points that we've deleted from and click, and then complete our shape. Now you notice that this guy is like this. We don't want it this way, so we need to find out where the error is coming from, and the error is coming from this guy here. So what do? We click on this, holding control, and then hold shift to make sure it laps to, or it snaps to the nearest, if it is up or down, it slaps to the nearest line, up or down, or left or right. And then we do the same thing for this guy, and voila, we have this gone. Now we come over here and do the same thing for this. We click and then close it up. And then I think I made a mistake. The actual key to hold to move this around is alternate. So you hold alternate, and when you hold alternate, it only selects that particular point, because if you hold control, it moves both points. So if I zoom in, you see that both points that control the curve are being moved. But when you hold alternate, it moves only that one that you selected. So if I hold shift, you notice that once I click on shift, it automatically aligns it to, you see, it aligning it here. So if I come down, it's aligning it here to all the 45 degrees, and then here is aligning it to the 90 degrees. So it's the same thing that we do for this, that we do for this guy. We come here, alternate, hold shift, and then make sure it aligns, and then we have a very straight line here. So we go back and we see that we've taken out that chunk of the S, just so that it gives us that illusion that the S is wrapping around the I. Now let's quickly speed up the process by doing the same thing here. All right. Now we have that done, and this is all thanks towards our trusty pen tool. Remember, we've used a lot of the pen tool, right? It's very important. It's a very inevitable tool. You must use it as a Photoshop designer. You must use your pen tool. So we have this cut out. So we need to get back our eye. Now we've gotten our eye back. And if we change the color of the eye to something like this, automatically it gives that illusion that the S is wrapping around the eye. So let's say the two colors that we have for Easy Salon is or are okay. You guys should give us colors in the chat. Let's see how we can do that. Let's give us colors in the chat. Give us colors. Which colors do we use? Are you guys fresh out of ideas? Okay, I see pink and black. Yes, we know we took colors from, okay, black and yellow. Okay, so we have two people going for black. Okay, how about we try using the do I think it's possible? Is it possible? Let's check. Is it possible to use pink and yellow in the same design? Uh, it probably should be, but I think we'll go with baby pink, right? We'll go with baby pink. Let's go with baby pink. How? So let's do baby pink. Well, this is just a tutorial. It's not like it's and then we go for black. So we want to go for that. So now you see that automatically it looks like it's wrapped around the eye. Then also for the hair, we we still have something missing from the eye, which is what? The circle at the top. So we can use this as a completion of the eye. So when we merge all these circles that we used as the afro or the afro hairstyle, well, that's a lot of circles. Once we merge them and then we go here and merge shape components and then make them one color and then set them as the same, yeah, black that we are using. Then also set this guy as the same black. Then we have something that looks more like this. Not too perfect, but you get the idea. So let's shift this hair up a bit. Okay, I think, yeah, that's good. But I think this looks more masculine, you know. If you ask me, it looks more masculine than feminine, actually. The idea looks more masculine than feminine. I don't know if you guys agree with me. If you guys agree with me, let me know in the chat. Now, here comes an interesting part, which is the placement of the easy salons. So since we're going with black, looks well arranged, well branded, and there we have our logo. Can actually use this. I don't know. Let's try this and see. Let's get rid of this. Try this. Hmm. Nah, it doesn't really speak to hair kind of stuff. Well, I don't know. The thing is, we are trying to achieve. Wow, this pink and black is actually giving. If you guys think the same, then you can. Okay, we can add extra colors if you want to make it more feminine. Okay, okay, it's more masculine because of the hair. Maybe more waves, make it more feminine, but it's okay. Okay, I see. I'll be trying. Okay, let's try that. The hair should be pink. Let's try the hair should be pink. bad idea. Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea at all. Not a bad idea. So let's keep our idea. We can still work on this. Like I said, it's still something we could work on. So we could make this look this way. Also make this look this way. Make it look more rounded. Yeah, we can actually just do that. Yeah, making it look more. And we could also do something that just came in. We could just, okay, soften the brush, paint the top only to make it look tinted, kind of. You know, we're just uh, sharing ideas. Okay, overlay. Not looking bad. Okay. Looks more like uh, looks more like a person has like a very huge forehead. Okay, we could actually do this. Yeah, so how did I achieve what I just did? Let's go back. So let's just add that to some of the things that you could use when trying to manipulate your way around Photoshop. So you hit Control T on the keyboard, and then if you look at the status bar, you will notice this guy. You click on it, and then it gives you this grid lines. Now, what you can do is you can manually just do this yourself. You can just click and drag and try to arrange, you know, whatever it is you're working on. Not necessarily has to be this kind of stuff. It could be anything. It could be an image. It could be you're trying to reposition someone's hand. You could use this to do that. Or you can come over here where you have custom, and then you see some drop downs that gives you like this type, something like this. You can make it look like this, or these are ways that you could use it. But I prefer to just do it freehand and do it myself, something like this. So like I said, Control T, and then you come up on your status bar and you see the icon there. You click on it and you can go ahead and do freehand, or you come over here where you have custom and then you pick the type that you want. You have different styles. Let's try them out. So let's try it for Easy Salon. Say I want to make this look wavy. Uh, let's get this straight. Control T, come over here, and then we select flag. Now what that has done is has made this look this way. So I can click on this point to reduce or invert, or just make it look very subtle, not too pronounced. So that's basically what you can achieve with this. Right, so let's get rid of this. And I think with that, we've come to the end of our logo fundamentals. Now it's an open room for you guys to ask questions. What is that one thing that you didn't understand during the class? Um, I'm open to answering your questions live and showing you practically how it should be done for whatever it is you ask. So please go ahead. I'm all ears. Let's have your questions. So, okay, this is well explained, but my head is wondering how would it look if it was a flowing hair instead. Let's try flowing hair. Let's try flowing hair. So let's attend to flowing hair. How does flowing hair look? Let me try. So circle and this. Okay, let's try that. Let's try that and see. So get rid of this. Have this eye, which doesn't look too bad, if you ask me. Alright, let's get our pencil and try to draw and see what we can achieve. Alright, so something like from here to here, we have, that's like standard practice for flowing hair. And we have, let's think about that for a bit. Let's think about that for a moment and see how flowing hair should or would work. have an idea though. Let's put that idea to the test. So let's get rid of this. Let's do something like a fringe, a pink fringe. Right, so we get this. Come over here. Do this. Go over here. Yep. Let's do this. I think we're arriving at our fringe. Yeah, we're arriving at our fringe. Alright, let's shape this pink. Now, let us do something that I call masking, or something that is called masking. Now, we want the fringe to wrap around the hair just like we did here, but we don't want to entirely crop it out. So what do? What we need to do in this case or in this situation is to make sure that we have our layer that we want to hide some part of selected. Now we want to hide some part of this hair. We want this side on, we want the hair on this side to be visible, but we want the head to be visible through this other area. How do we do it? We select this and then we add a new layer mask. Now that's this icon we have here. Now when we've done that, we need to go to the layer that we want to hide from, or that we want to take from, which is this head layer. So we select that layer and then hold control, hold control and go to the thumbnail area. This is the thumbnail area of the layer, or on the layers panel, and then we click. It makes a selection around our layer. Now we go back into our layer mask that we've earlier created, and we select our brush tool, which is B on the keyboard. Now making sure that your brush is set to black. If it is not set to black, let's say it was set to, red, but once you select your layer mask thumbnail, it would be anything but colored. It would be monotonous, so from white to black straight up. So if you selected a different color, it's just going to be either in, like, look at, how do I explain it? It will be in the same spectrum of that color, but on the desaturated aspect of it. So let's make sure that we selected black, full black. And if you have another color selected, like I said earlier, you can hit D on the keyboard and it will automatically set it to black. You can hit D on the keyboard and it will set it to black. Then make sure that your foreground is selected as black. Now how do we do that? You can easily come to this icon here and swap it, and voila. All you need to now do is come and paint on this. Now we need to make this our brush hard. How do we do that? We right click and increase the hardness to 100%. Now we paint. So by so doing, we've created this fringe hair around. We've created this fringe looking kind of hair around our subject or our model. Now we can further take this and make it look more realistic by adding extra strands to this to make it look more natural, like, oh, this is fringe. How do we do that? First off, we select our layer, make sure it's selected. Let's make this look more realistic so it doesn't look like, yeah, exactly. Make this look more like a fringe. And then let's take this guy out of the picture. Exactly. Then we can add some cuts. Add, hold alternate and click to make it a point, and then hold control, click and drag to make a slit. Now we can do that as many times as we want. Add a point, hold alternate, click on the same point to make it an actual point and not a curve. Do the same thing over here, click on it, hold alternate, on the same spot, click on it so that it's a point and not a curve. And then do the same thing here, hold alternate, and then control move. Can do this to just make it look like a smaller slit. And there we have a fringe looking pink hair for easy salons. Is it fringe or bob? I don't really know. I don't really know. But this is something else that we could try to make it look memorable and to make it stick. And just like Tammy said, to make it look fantastic. So this is a bit more neutral, still leaning into the feminine aspect of things. But well, we've been able to achieve the fundamentals of how you can create a logo for whatever brand it is and the tools that are majorly involved in creating a logo. The tools that are heavily involved in creating logos are tools like the shape tool, text tool, pen tool, and in some cases the brush tool. Now we use the brush tool to be able to, you know, mask out some parts of this, and but like you can, like I said, we can also use it to shade in some areas, to color in some areas, to give some, how do I call it, to give some areas some depth, or you can also use the eraser tool. The eraser tool is to, you know, fade in some areas, make some areas look more 3D like, you know, create some illusions and all of that. So these are ways that you could be able to create logos. Now, for the sake of time that we don't have, we've exhausted the time we have. All I think you guys should do is, if you have any questions, both now that we're live and in the future when you come back to watch this, you can drop your questions in the comment section, and it will definitely get a response, or we could create a subsequent video to respond to your comment. So if you've not yet subscribed, please do subscribe to our channel, as we plan on giving more Photoshop tutorials and more Photoshop tips and tricks on how you can become a pro. You can start off being a beginner, and then we market ready so that you can be able to get designs done, logos done, and flyers done. So still stay locked in for tomorrow's version, because tomorrow is going to be all about flyers and no more logos. So from what we've done, I believe you guys understand how to design and create a logo from scratch, as we did, I think, 2 logos today from scratch. So see you guys in the next one, and peace.